Imagine your body as a battlefield where invisible invaders are constantly attempting to conquer you from within. Your natural defenses rally and the temperature begins to rise. Fever takes hold. But what if this discomforting symptom is actually your body's secret weapon, honed by millions of years of evolution? Should you really be fighting it, or is there more to fever than meets the eye? Today, we're diving deep into the science of fever, why it happens, how it helps you, and whether you should let it run its course or reach for that medication. Welcome to Society Echoes. In today's episode, we're unraveling the mysteries behind one of the most common, yet misunderstood, bodily responses: fever. Many of us see it as a mere symptom, something to be suppressed. But what if fever is more than just a sign of illness? What if it's a critical tool your body uses to defend itself? Stick with us as we explore the true nature of fever, its role in the immune system, and the surprising benefits it brings. By the end, you might just rethink how you deal with your next fever. Life on Earth thrives within a narrow temperature range. From the frigid waters of Antarctica, where temperatures can drop to 10 degrees, to the scorching hot springs of Yellowstone, reaching up to 120 degrees, life has adapted to these extremes. However, each organism has a specific comfort zone, a temperature range within which its biological processes function optimally. For humans, this comfort zone is centered around 37 degrees, 98.6 degrees. While this might seem high, it's actually a sophisticated evolutionary adaptation that serves as a critical defense mechanism. This consistent internal temperature is what makes us warm-blooded, allowing us to maintain a stable environment for our cellular machinery to work efficiently. But why exactly do we need to stay so warm? The answer lies in our evolutionary history. One of the most dangerous and persistent threats to life on Earth is the presence of fungi. These organisms can wreak havoc on the bodies of many animals, but humans are remarkably resistant to them. Why? Because our internal temperature is simply too hot for most fungi to survive. While they thrive in cooler environments, our warm bodies create a hostile setting that prevents them from taking hold. But there's more to this story. The ability to maintain a constant temperature also allows us to respond more effectively to infections. When our body detects an invader, be it a virus, bacteria, or another pathogen, it triggers a fever, raising the internal temperature even further. This increase in temperature is not a byproduct of illness. It's a deliberate and calculated response by our immune system to make the body an even more inhospitable environment for the invader. To truly understand the power of fever, we need to look at it as an ancient and universal defense mechanism. Fever is not unique to humans. It's a strategy used by countless species across the animal kingdom. For example, when a fish becomes infected, it might swim into warmer waters to increase its body temperature. Lizards bask in the sun, raising their body temperature to fight off illness. Even bees will heat up their hive to fend off pathogens. This widespread use of fever suggests that it's a fundamental aspect of how life combats disease. When your body is invaded by harmful microorganisms, it launches an all-out war. The first line of defense is your innate immune system, which includes barriers like your skin and mucous membranes, as well as various immune cells that patrol your body for signs of infection. However, when these defenses are breached, your body activates a more aggressive strategy: fever. The process begins when immune cells known as macrophages and dendritic cells encounter pathogens. These cells release signaling molecules called pyrogens, which travel through your bloodstream to the hypothalamus, the part of your brain responsible for regulating body temperature. The hypothalamus then increases your body's set point, causing you to feel cold initially as your body begins to heat up. This is why you often experience chills at the onset of a fever. As your body temperature rises, several physiological changes occur. Your muscles may begin to shiver, generating heat through rapid contractions. Blood vessels near the surface of your skin constrict, reducing heat loss, and causing your skin to feel cold while your core temperature climbs. Inside, your metabolism ramps up, burning more calories to fuel the fever. For every degree Celsius your temperature rises, your body burns about 10% more calories. This increase in temperature creates a hostile environment for pathogens. Many bacteria and viruses are adapted to thrive at normal body temperature, so the sudden rise in heat disrupts their ability to replicate. Proteins within the pathogens begin to denature, their cell membranes become unstable, and their metabolic processes grind to a halt. In essence, fever is a form of biological warfare, using heat as a weapon to slow down and eventually destroy the invaders. However, this strategy is not without its costs. Fever puts a significant strain on your body. As your temperature rises, virtually every organ system in your body is affected. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes more rapid, and your body's demand for oxygen goes up. Additionally, the increased metabolic activity requires more energy, which is why you often feel fatigued and weak during a fever. But the most fascinating aspect of fever is its impact on your immune system. While the fever stresses and weakens the pathogens, it simultaneously enhances the function of your immune cells. Neutrophils, a type of white blood cell, are recruited to the site of infection more quickly. These cells are more effective at engulfing and destroying pathogens in the presence of heat. Similarly, macrophages, which also play a crucial role in fighting infection, become more active and efficient. One of the key effects of fever is the activation of heat shock proteins, HSPs. These proteins help protect your cells from the damaging effects of heat, ensuring that they can continue to function even as the temperature rises. However, the production of HSPs in infected cells can be a double-edged sword. While these proteins help keep the cell alive, they also signal to the immune system that the cell is under severe stress. This attracts natural killer, NK cells, and cytotoxic T cells, which recognize the distressed cell as compromised and destroy it to prevent the spread of the infection. Fever, therefore, is not just a symptom of illness, it's an integral part of your body's defense strategy. By raising your temperature, your body creates a hostile environment for pathogens, enhances the effectiveness of your immune response, and ensures that infected cells are eliminated before they can spread the infection further. As the battle rages within your body, fever plays a pivotal role in turning the tide against the invaders. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Fever doesn't just stress the pathogens, it can also outsmart them in ways that hinder their ability to evolve. Pathogens, like all living organisms, are subject to the pressures of natural selection. When they encounter a fever, only the most heat-resistant individuals are likely to survive. Over time, this could lead to the evolution of more heat-resistant strains of bacteria or viruses. However, fever presents a unique evolutionary dilemma for these pathogens. When a pathogen becomes more heat-resistant, it may gain an advantage in surviving within a feverish host. But there's a catch. Once the fever subsides, these heat-adapted pathogens may find themselves at a disadvantage in infecting new hosts who are at normal body temperature. In other words, the very adaptation that allows them to survive a fever makes it harder for them to spread to new individuals. This evolutionary trade-off is a key reason why fever remains an effective defense mechanism after hundreds of millions of years. Even if a pathogen survives a fever, its ability to infect new hosts may be compromised, limiting its spread and reducing its overall impact on the population. But fever isn't just about defeating the invaders, it's also about preserving the host. The immune system has developed sophisticated strategies to ensure that the fever remains under control and doesn't cause excessive damage to the body. For example, when the immune response is no longer needed, anti-inflammatory signals are released to bring the fever down and restore normal body temperature. However, not all fevers are created equal. While mild to moderate fevers are generally beneficial, high fevers can be dangerous. a fever above 40°C, 104°, can cause serious harm, including seizures, brain damage, and even death. This is why it's crucial to monitor a fever closely and seek medical attention if it becomes dangerously high. In some cases, such as with certain autoimmune diseases or severe infections, the body's regulatory mechanisms may fail, leading to a prolonged and uncontrolled fever. This is where medical intervention becomes necessary. Medications like acetaminophen, Tylenol, or ibuprofen, Advil, can help reduce fever and alleviate symptoms, but they should be used judiciously and under the guidance of a healthcare professional. Interestingly, some studies suggest that treating a fever too aggressively with antipyretic drugs, fever reducers, may actually prolong the duration of the illness. This is because fever helps to speed up the immune response and reduce the replication of pathogens. By lowering the fever, you may inadvertently slow down your body's ability to fight off the infection. That said, there are situations where reducing a fever is the best course of action. For example, in individuals with weakened immune systems, the elderly or young children, a high fever can be more harmful than beneficial. In these cases, it's important to strike a balance between allowing the fever to do its job and preventing it from causing unnecessary harm. Ultimately, the decision to treat a fever should be based on individual circumstances and medical advice. While fever is a powerful tool in the body's arsenal, it's not always the right choice to let it run its course unchecked. Understanding when and how to intervene is key to ensuring the best possible outcome for your health. The discussion around fever treatment is not just a matter of medical science, it also raises important ethical questions. When is it appropriate to intervene, and when should we allow the body's natural defenses to take their course? This question becomes even more complex in the context of severe infections and critical care. In the world of critical care medicine, there is ongoing debate about the best approach to managing fever in seriously ill patients. On one hand, fever can be a sign that the body is actively fighting off an infection. On the other hand, the stress of a high fever can be overwhelming for a patient who is already battling a severe illness or injury. One study conducted in an intensive care unit, ICU, found that aggressively treating fever in critically ill patients led to higher mortality rates. The study had to be stopped early because the results were so concerning. This raises the question, could it be that in some cases reducing fever might actually do more harm than good? The ethical dilemma here is whether to prioritize comfort and symptom relief, or to allow the fever to run its course in the hope of a better long-term outcome. This is not an easy decision, and it requires careful consideration of the patient's overall condition, the nature of the illness, and the potential risks and benefits of fever treatment. There's also the issue of informed consent. Patients and their families should be fully informed about the potential risks and benefits of fever treatment. They should be involved in the decision-making process, particularly in cases where the outcome is uncertain. This is especially important in end-of-life care, where the goal may be to prioritize comfort rather than prolong life. In the broader context of public health, the question of fever treatment also intersects with issues of access to healthcare and medication. In many parts of the world, access to basic medical care is limited, and fever-reducing medications may be unavailable or unaffordable. In these situations, the decision to treat or not to treat a fever can have life or death consequences. Furthermore, the overuse of fever-reducing medications in more affluent societies raises concerns about potential long-term effects on public health. If we routinely suppress fevers at the first sign of discomfort, are we weakening our immune systems over time? Are we increasing our vulnerability to more serious infections? These are questions that researchers and healthcare professionals continue to grapple with. While there is no one-size-fits-all answer, it's clear that the treatment of fever is a complex issue that requires careful consideration of both medical and ethical factors. As our understanding of fever continues to evolve, So too does the research aimed at uncovering its full potential as a therapeutic tool. Fever has been a part of the human experience for millions of years, yet we are only beginning to scratch the surface of its complexities. One area of research that holds great promise is the exploration of how fever interacts with the microbiome, the community of microorganisms that live in and on our bodies. The microbiome plays a crucial role in our overall health, influencing everything from digestion to immune function. Recent studies suggest that fever may help to regulate the microbiome by selectively targeting harmful bacteria while allowing beneficial microbes to thrive. Another exciting avenue of research is the development of targeted fever therapies. Instead of using broad-spectrum antipyretic drugs that reduce fever across the board, scientists are exploring ways to modulate the fever response more precisely. This could involve using heat to target specific pathogens or enhancing the body's natural fever response to boost immunity without causing unnecessary stress to the body. There is also growing interest in the potential use of fever as a treatment for certain chronic conditions, such as autoimmune diseases or cancer. Some studies have found that inducing fever in cancer patients can stimulate the immune system and enhance the effectiveness of other treatments, such as chemotherapy or immunotherapy. However, these are still early days, and much more research is needed before these therapies can become a reality. There are also significant ethical and practical challenges to consider. For example, how do we ensure that induced fever therapies are safe and effective? What are the potential risks, and how can they be mitigated? As we continue to explore these questions, it's important to remember that fever is a natural and powerful tool that has evolved over millions of years. While we may be able to harness its potential in new and innovative ways, we must also respect its complexity and approach it with caution. The future of fever research is bright, and it holds the potential to revolutionize the way we understand and treat illness. But as we move forward, we must remain mindful of the delicate balance between leveraging the power of fever and protecting the health and well-being of patients. In conclusion, fever is not just a symptom of illness. It's a vital part of our body's defense system. It plays a crucial role in fighting off infections, enhancing immune function, and protecting us from harmful pathogens. While it can be uncomfortable and even dangerous in certain situations, fever is a powerful tool that should not be underestimated. So, should you fight a fever? The answer is not always straightforward. In many cases, allowing a mild to moderate fever to run its course can help your body heal more effectively. However, there are times when reducing a fever is necessary to prevent harm, particularly in vulnerable populations. As with any health decision, it's important to consult with your healthcare provider to determine the best course of action for your individual situation. And remember, the next time you're burning up with fever, take comfort in the fact that your body is hard at work protecting you from harm. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative and thought-provoking, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to Society Echoes. We have many more fascinating topics to explore, and we'd love for you to join us on this journey of discovery. See you next time.